everybody, welcome to another episode of Exploring Photography right here on Adorama TV. I'm Mark Wallace, hanging out here with Karen.
Hello.
And today, we're gonna take a little photo challenge, trying to get as many different looks as we can in this great studio. So first, let's look around the studio. You can see we have this white seamless background. We have this outside spot here that's a really sort of a cool terrace. Maybe we'll shoot there, but there's a lot of possibilities here in this space. But the challenge is, I'm just gonna use my Sony A7 III, that's this guy right here, and my on-camera flash. And so we're gonna try that, making this zip all around, doing some cool things. We're gonna take this off the camera, and we're gonna use this guy right here. This is my little transmitter, so we can shoot with this off the camera on a little stand here. And maybe even we'll use this umbrella that Karen has. And so, without further ado, let's get going. To start off, we're gonna use the simplest lighting setup because, well, it's also the least flattering, it's the least flattering lighting setup. We have to start somewhere, and so we're gonna start with our flash on our camera. Now, I'm gonna treat my flash like it's a studio flash, and so my camera is in full manual mode, so I've set this to 250th of a second, that's my sync speed, at f8, and so we're gonna keep our camera set around there. My flash, however, is in TTL mode, so I'm gonna let my flash do its own metering to figure out the correct exposure. If I need to make changes to the flash exposure, well, I'm just gonna use my flash exposure compensation to crank that up or down, and to determine if it's too bright or not bright enough, I'll just use the histogram on my camera to make sure that's all correct. So I'm not using a light meter in this setup. So we're gonna start. Now, again, this is on camera, on axis flash. It's not gonna look great, but there is a big difference between this and this. And so I'll show you what that is. So this first shot here, I'm gonna zoom sort of out. We've got this fun pose. I want to take that shot, and you can see the shadows in the background are mostly hidden behind Karen. That's pretty cool. That's because our camera was like this. But if I take a vertical shot, now the flash is coming from the side. Watch what happens to this flash. So same thing, now the flash is on the side. It's a vertical shot. And now that flash is much more pronounced. I don't like that. So we can solve that by tilting and reflecting and bouncing our flash around. But just to note, if you have your flash on the camera, there is a difference between horizontal and vertical shots because of the direction the light is coming from. All right, let's make this better. Okay? So we could shoot a lot more of this on camera, but I know we can make it better just by taking this, instead of having it this way, let's tilt it up. What that's gonna do is the flash is gonna bounce off the ceiling and then come down. That's gonna give us much softer light. So we're gonna do that. Right now, again, we have a horizontal shot. Beautiful, I like that. And now we're getting somewhere. Let's take just one more shot, excellent. I love it. We look at these shots, the light is much softer, it's much better. So the lesson we've learned is take your flash, bounce it off the ceiling. This is a low ceiling, so I can actually touch it. I don't think you can see it in the frame here, but it's maybe 7.5 feet, something like that. So it's really low, that's good. And it's also white. The other thing we can do, if we have our flash like this, remember we had all those issues, let's see if we can bounce it off this wall. It's a long way to go, but maybe it will work. Or even better, we can just point it up like that and bounce it off the ceiling. So let's try both things. I think bouncing it off the wall is gonna give us some side light, but it's really gonna make our flash have to punch out a lot of light. So let's see if we can do that. Beautiful. Okay, yeah, you can see that we really need a lot more light. So I'm gonna take my exposure compensation up by 2. So I've increased my flash exposure compensation +2. We'll try that one more time. Yeah, this flash just doesn't have enough power to go all that distance and come back. That's okay, we'll just bounce it off the ceiling. So let's try that. So we're gonna do this. So here we go, excellent. I like that. So we have some side light. It's very nice and soft, beautiful. I'm even gonna get a little bit closer here. There we go. I like that. Okay, so we've bounced our light around. You can play with that. What we need to do next is get our flash off the camera. We can move it closer, we can add a light modifier, and we'll have even better results. Now, what I've done is I've taken my flash off the camera and put it on this little light stand here with an umbrella adapter, added a white umbrella, and you can see that I'm using my remote control here, and this is still in TTL mode. And so it's just one flash with an umbrella. again, I'm going to use my histogram to judge the exposure. And so, Karen, look right at me. We're just going to take a simple shot here. When I look at that, it looks okay. The histogram is showing me that I'm underexposed just a bit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go onto this. I'm going to take my exposure comp up by 1 stop. So that's 1 stop up. Set that, locked it in. And now we're going to shoot just another shot here. There we go. And that is just a little too much. So I've got some blown out warnings. So I'm going to take it up to about 1/3 of a stop. You can see that's about 1/3 of a stop. And I think that'll be good. Now I could use a light meter, set my flash in manual mode. I'm just trying to keep this simple. So we're at plus 1/3 stop overexposed. Exposure compensation. I love that, yes. And so now we are locked in. Let us shoot. Maybe I'm gonna use a wide angle lens to get a little bit closer. So I'm using my 28, which is good. And then I'm gonna have Karen, make sure you have your eyes toward the umbrella. And that's gonna be a little bit more flattering. Yes. And then eyes toward me, but your head toward the umbrella. There you go. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. A tight head shot, chin down just a bit. All right. Now we have that locked in. We'll take a few more photos and then we'll go to our next setup, which is we're going to use a shoot-through umbrella. This is a shoot-through umbrella, which means that I can take this black backing right here and I can take these little ends and pop them off. And then I can take this entire outside piece off this umbrella. Takes just a couple seconds. So now when I get to the very last one here, this little guy right here, it comes right off like that. And then that comes off. And now I have an umbrella that's translucent. So you can see that, you can see through that a little bit. So I can shoot my light through this. And so instead of having the light bounce off this and come back in, it's just gonna go through that. And so it's sort of like having a softbox, but a much less expensive softbox. Because we're in a really white environment, we can just totally diffuse the light. It's gonna be extremely soft. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So now what I've done is I've put the flash on the stand and it's going through the umbrella. So it's gonna shoot through this. And then I've positioned the umbrella pretty much the same way we had it before. So I changed the angle a little bit. Now there's a trick to this because, well, I'll get to it, but we have to zoom the flash in and out to get a specific effect. So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna put this sort of at a 45, some normal Rembrandt light. And so we're gonna have you look so at this umbrella here, and I will focus up and take a shot. And it looks pretty good. I have a bit of that umbrella in my shot. So I need to move it back. Because it's white on white, I'm not seeing it in my viewfinder. There we go. Excellent, I love that. Okay, now let's shoot just a few more like this. Play with that a little bit. Excellent, I'll get a little closer. Good. Okay, we have some decent shots, but they're not too much different than what we shot with the normal umbrella. So what I want to do is I want to change the angle of the light and I'm going to change the zoom of our on-camera flash. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the zoom. So let me just show you really fast. On my remote control here, I can change the zoom. So I'm going to hit that. And right now it's on auto. So instead of auto, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this all the way up to 100 millimeters. So I don't know if you can see that, 100 millimeters. I'll lock that in. So it's, I'm sorry, it's at 105, but close enough. So what it's doing is it's taking that light, instead of having it go everywhere, it's zooming it in. It's going to add more punch. It's going to keep the light from spilling all over the place, which is important for this next lighting setup. So what I'm going to do is, Karen, I'm going to have you bring the stool just about a foot or so forward, just like that. And then I'm going to move this to a 90-degree angle, sort of behind her. There we go. So yeah, so now it's sort of behind her and moving to the side. And then I'm going to have you turn to a 90, yeah, there you go, like that. And then let's try this. And you can see that this shot is much more dramatic. We're still getting some spill on the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this forward just a little bit. Yeah, like that. And then let's move this stool back just a little bit this way. There we go. And now, let's try that. Ah, now we're cooking with gas. This is great. So we have this 90-degree angle. It looks really cool because we don't have spill on the background. It's looking much better. Yeah, look right at me. Perfect. I love that. And look straight at the umbrella. Good, good, good. Yeah, okay. So if I had a little bit more time, I would change my framing just a little bit on this, but you'll get the idea. Moving this to a different position, restricting the light using the zoom, moving your model away from the background, you're able to get a more high contrast look, low key. It's totally different than what we had before. All right, next, let's go outside. Now we're outside. We have this really cool wall here. The problem is though, the sun is coming in and out behind some clouds. When it comes out and there's no clouds, it's really bright. And so Karen can't even keep her eyes open and we're sort of having the watery eyes. It's crazy. So instead what we're going to do is we're putting Karen in the shade over here toward the wall, and then she can look away from the sun so her eyes aren't going to be watering. But we still need to control the light. We need to shape that light. And so what I've done here is I have this shoot-through umbrella to the side. And so that's gonna give some nice soft side light. And I'm gonna be shooting sort of at this angle here. And so I can play with the angle and get more or less of the wall and things will work out. So Lista, all right, here we go, let's shoot. I love these photos, they're fantastic, thank you so much. Well, that's all there is to it. You can use an on-camera flash, you can take it off, use an umbrella, shoot through an umbrella, bounce it off the ceiling, off a wall, whatever. You're gonna get some great photos. Thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you.
If you want to see more of Karen's work, I have included a link to her Instagram in the description of this video. Make sure you check out her stuff, it's fantastic. Also, don't forget to subscribe because it's absolutely free, and turn on the bell because we have all kinds of live shows and you don't want to miss out on that because you weren't notified. So thank you for watching and thanks so much. We'll see you again next time.